Welcome back to Humble Pie. I'm your host, Jimmy D, and we are back again for a One Piece special. This one's the Championship Series Night 2 of our 8-week series that we host here at LifeLink Games. We're going to be going over all the gameplay as a lot of these players are playing for the regional season. If you guys have been watching some of my recent YouTube releases, I've released the last regional that was held at LifeLink Games, and you guys can check those things out edited and shortened, excuse me, for your pleasure on YouTube right now. We got the last one just posted up I believe yesterday, and we got some more YouTube videos of all this content coming your way, for all those that can't make it for these live streams, because I understand live streams are hard. You got to get it here, and you got to be here for 3-4 hours. It's a lot to ask of people, especially in every given Monday, any given Wednesday, where we usually go live with these One Piece events. Tuesday, it's really great. We get together, get to play these games, and of course, the points are earned throughout this whole performance week on Tuesdays and on Saturdays, where attendance will get you 3 points, and every win post that, which an additional 3 points. We try to get things open, spread out there for you guys for all the points you can possibly make to make sure that the winner of this really, really gets the best of the best and is showcased and their excellent skills as they performed through these 8 weeks. Honestly, the big thanks to all my Patreon members and all the people who put the subscription on Twitch and all those people that followed me out on YouTube. The big thank you should go to all those people, because they are the ones that make it possible for me to afford to keep getting these boxes where I can keep giving these packs away for free to you. So if you've ever received anything or want to receive something, you do eventually in the future, thank them. Thank them for enabling me to be able to afford these boxes as they get ever more expensive and harder to get, especially in Bandai type TCGs, where it's hard for me to get this product, and I can get that stuff for you guys and give the 1 or 2 purchases I can get for LifeLink and showcase that to you guys and give it back to you as thank you for being here, joining me. You guys can come in. You don't have to sit here the whole time, which is completely okay. I really appreciate it if you can't. If you can't, I understand. It's a busy day. There's a lot going on, and sometimes you just want to watch some gameplay. For those that are here just for the gameplay, I'm going to get you guys in probably about an hour, because I am going to be going over some stuff that I think is important for the rest of the community, and I do have a message to Bandai that I'm going to be clipping from this event, because there's a situation that's been ongoing that's hurting a lot of stores right now, and I need to get a message out to Bandai. I need to get a clip going. I need to get this out there. I need you guys' help. I'm going to try and make a short video for YouTube and push that out there as like my message to Bandai. Please help us. Without further ado, I did say I was going to get into it, and it's important. Let's start with my message to Bandai. Now I'm going to try and scooch in just a little bit to see if I can. Is this going to let me in any higher? All right. So I guess this isn't going to let me get this any larger here on the scroll. It's not letting me make the old man text thing a real thing here. But here's the issue, and you guys can read this on the screen if you want to, and I'll read it for you in just a moment. We're having some issues here in the gaming community, and it comes down to the tournament organization for these major events. Bandai has right now a lottery system. In all intents and purposes, it makes sense. It drives attention. It gets people excited. It gets the people on your app. It gets you all those rewards of having this massive amount of attendance to it that help kind of sell the quality of your game. Your game is already doing fantastic. You don't need these things. The lottery system to which you're offering right now for people to get in has created the idea of shortage. The concept of shortage then drives people to do bots, and also has them signing up for events that they no way would be able to tell at the time that they're signing up for it if the weekend of the day and the time meets their own schedule. For those that have ever done this in these tournament entries, you have a spot, a time, you set your phone to it, because you know if you don't, you're not getting in. If you don't set your timer, if you don't set your little alarm to get into these things, and you're not on within 5 minutes, you're on a wait list on every single thing that you want to participate in. And that's discouraging. If you're on a wait list, you're going to make other plans. You're going to do other things. You're just like, okay, I didn't get in. I'll figure something else out. Sometimes all these schedules will line up, and you'll see that you could do something else during this time. And what happens when it gets closer to the actual event, and something that sadly happened to us this weekend with Gundam, we had a 64-person store tournament and a game that is extremely popular. We had over 120 registered people for this event. We had over 60 drops. Over 60. And our ending total was closer to 30 people for a 64-person event. This was high-level competitive play for you to get your invites to Nats at a 64-person tournament, and there are over 1,000 players within our region, and I'm talking about Northern Virginia, Southern Virginia, Roanoke, a lot of people all over the state of Virginia, the ones that would make this our trek to come to this event. There are over thousands of players that would love to participate in this high-level tournament. But what had happened is the announcement came up to register. The bots and other people who didn't have time to look at the date, the time, cross-reference their schedule, they just said, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to go now. Because if I don't get in. And now, because I'm in this rapid fire grab, I then have to sit back and go, wait a minute, what am I doing that weekend? That's like 2 months away. What am I doing? And then you say, wait, I can't go to that. I can't attend that thing. I'm just going to drop out of this thing. Well, then Bandai says, hey, you didn't host a 64-person tournament. You hosted a 30-person tournament. We gave you 64 seats. And they're looking at us like we're the fault for why people aren't attending the event, when in reality, the fault is the concept of how you're selling these events. You've got to stop this lottery capping nonsense. It's going to start with the fix, and I'll get to that in just a minute. I'm going to get the fix in just a minute, but we got to go over exactly what's been causing the problems. Uchiha in the chat says 115 dropouts during the last 2 combined events is disgusting. It really is. And Uchiha's not wrong. He's seen it. He knows what we're talking about. We had max seating participation for these events, and then some. And people will check their phone and be like, oh, that's right, I can't attend that weekend. Oh, that's right, I can't do stuff. And then those other people that were discouraged because they're on the waiting list were like, I was going to plan something else to do that day. When they could have just shown up and they could have made it. Anyone on the wait list wouldn't even had to worry because they would have made it guaranteed on ours, because we had 60 drops from the 120 people that were registered for this event. All those other people that were on the wait list that didn't even realize they could make it into the event didn't even show up. And I'm willing to bet you that number would be even higher if it wasn't for the fact that they felt that they were on a wait list and there was no chance for them to get in. And they weren't going to waste an hour drive to a store on the chance that they could play. It's really discouraging. We have the tournament space. We have the tournament players. Like I said, hours along. If you do the radius around Charlottesville, Virginia, you'll know that Nova has a lot of players. They have a big scene up in Nova. You have people across the mountain over at JMU and in Harrisonburg. You got people down in Roanoke who play down there with Star City Games and their big adventure down there. We have people over the east in Richmond and that big place out in Richmond. There's major hubs all around Virginia that would love to come here, but it's an hour and a half and sometimes in traffic. You're not going to encourage people to come down for an hour and a half on an off chance that they may not play. It's just not going to happen. You need to allow the stores to cap what they're allowed to be able to host, what they can feasibly hit. And that store needs to be able to host it on their own. Not on this lottery system, not on this one day, all tournaments, all stores come out here during this day. No, let the stores host the stuff. Get a better app that says, hey, when these stores are going to be going live for this different location, and have time for people to know what the date is going to be before they go in and register. They have to be able to know what it is they're signing up for and what day they need to mark off on their calendar in order to be prepared for this event, so they can say, okay, 2 months from now, I need to be in Charlottesville, Virginia for this event at 12 o'clock. Not, I need to sign up, need to sign up. Which ones I got on 3? Okay, maybe a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, they're starting to look at the calendar like, oh, which one the time of these? Oh man, I got a wedding that day. Oh man, I got to go see my parents that day, and I told them it was Mother's Day weekend or something. I mean, stuff happens to people, guys. And you don't have time to check if it's Mother's Day weekend. You have time to see if there's a family reunion or something else going on during that time. You don't have time because you have seconds to make the decision to get in here. And while that makes your app look good, it makes the store look bad. Especially if you don't want or cannot attend the tournament. So LifeLink Games and Chris has put together his solution, and it's only going to be a temporary solution. That's only going to be a little band-aid on the problem that's not going to get any better until Bandai starts making events less lottery. It needs to stop. I understand business-wise, as a business major myself, why this makes sense to you and why this looks so good on paper. But why it doesn't function and why it hurts the people that are doing the best amount of work for you in making your game viable, playable, having people have a place to engage with, building communities to which make and cater to the best of the best of your community to help sell your product, that just don't just sell your product, but they advertise your stuff and they get the stuff out there to you. They actually do the most amount of work for your business as an advertising agent to make your business successful. The creators, a little bit like me, I'm not that big, but there are creators out there that are bigger than me that I talk to on the regular that are doing bangbuster numbers for you and selling these things, and they're working with stores to make your product good because we believe in your product, we like what you're selling, we want to buy it, we want to play it, we want to engage, and we want to share that joy with everybody else. But when you do the lottery-based system and you cap these people in these events the way you do, you're shorthanding your own money and you're creating this attendance gap that's occurring at stores nationwide. What would you rather have? The fact that you have a one day, the system's nearly crashed because you couldn't handle all the bots and all the craziness with people trying to get the lotteries in there to get in these events. And you can say, hey, wow, we have all these people with all these wait lists. And then the time of the event, we had 50% of the people show up for the event. And then we're reporting on, we had 50% of the people for the 64 tournament when we could have housed thousands. If the demand was high enough, if the demand was allowed to be high enough, and we realized that we needed space for thousands, that would encourage the store to go buy a space for thousands. That would go encourage a store or a team of organizers to go rent out a place to house that many players to play in these events. That would get judges and people interested in your program that want to help out with the judges to get paid for those events, that help people in other venues make even more money. You're talking about how to make the economy work. I'm talking to you, Bandai, not just to the players who are really hurting from this, but you, the one that wants to make a amount of money. You can host an event. You cap it at 2,500. You could have had 6,000 people. 6,000 people buying hotel rooms, buying food from you, buying packs, buying your product, selling your stuff, making videos, putting it on social media, showing people how much fun they're having, making your stuff go viral on all the different social media apps, all the content creation that's going out there. People saying record-breaking attendance of 6,000 people have attended the New York Comic-Con or the New York Bandai Fest. And those are numbers you can sell. The newspapers, like, this was insane. We had so many people, we didn't know what to do with them. And now you got newspapers writing for you for free. And now suddenly everyone's like, wow, there was that many people attending this event? This must be a really popular game. You know what those people do? They say, I'm going to get into the game. I'm going to start playing the game. And now you have a new revenue stream of people saying, hey, I don't want to miss the popular thing. This seems like something really everybody likes to do. Yes. That's how business works. That's how you get people into this. That's how you keep growing. We know this as a store at a small level. That when we sell out events and we sell out nights and people are just going crazy about, wow, there's so many people showing up on Tuesday to play One Piece. We've brought in 20 new customers just because they were impressed with the size of it. You have parents saying, hey, I wonder if my kid would like that. And it's a place for kids. It's a place that we make for kids. We make sure it's safe for everybody. Safe for everybody. And it's inviting for everybody. And the parents are so thankful. They seriously, the last few weeks, I have been met with more parents who are almost in tears because they're so excited to introduce their kids into a community that's so welcoming. And thank you, community, by the way. Thank you, because you make that possible. It's not just me. It's all of you out there. They're like, you're always looking out for us. You're helping us through when we're getting problems. We're doing our stuff, and they love it, and they're saying thank you. And they appreciate it, and it grows, and that goodness spreads. That goodness goes into the next thing, into the next thing, and the next thing. You put good, and it creates the cycle of good. For those that haven't watched Pay It Forward, you should probably watch it. It's a good movie. That's what this is about. It's about creating these people and making these good experiences and not punishing the stores who are victims of the strategy to which you developed with the lottery system. Now I'm going to go into real quick here after I'm going to get a chat real quick, and then I'm going to get into what we're having to do as a store. So all of you guys are aware, and we'll have something out there so you guys understand what we have to do as a store to try to maximize proper attendance to these things so we don't look bad on the Bandai statistics when we're hosting events that could be up to 100 plus people, but you're not enabling us to host that many people, and your lottery system is making our attendance look weak when we had double the people on the wait list. Uchiha says, stuff happens, but when it's 60 drops all on the day of, that's not life getting in the way. It's incentive pieces of garbage who don't care. Uchiha, I'm with you to a degree. Some people don't check their stuff until they're like, oh yeah, I wasn't going to be able to make that tournament. I'm with you. And I get where your heart's at, and I respect it. I would like people to tell me earlier that they're going to drop. I would like that to happen more reasonable. But in reality, the way people's lives, especially in the day and age that we live now, we don't have time to be looking. We barely take the time for ourselves to do scheduling. We barely do anything for the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Good book. Check it out. There are people that just stuff happens. And it is deterring because if they would have done it well in advance, other people would have gotten the message that, hey, you're invited. You made it on the wait list. You're good to go. And that could help mitigate some of it. But I don't think that's the direct cause. I think that's just a additional symptom of the cause of having people so nervously grabbing every event they possibly can and not having the time to calendar this stuff. And to expect everyone to calendar is unreasonable. People don't do it. Yeah. Uchiha, it's hard to say what percentage is which. There are selfish people out there. There are people who, and this is the one that we're going to be addressing here. This is the people that don't even take the time to tell us they're going to drop. We're holding this spot for them, and they're not even giving us the courtesy to tell us that they're not going to be able to make the event. They're like, they'll figure it out. Oh, bro, they'll figure it out is discouraging somebody else from making the trip to come see us. Or the trip to come to the event. That's a problem. All right, let's get into the message here from Chris. Hello, everyone. I wanted to make a quick announcement regarding the Bandai events and the last-minute cancellations and no-shows. Over the last few months, this has become a pretty major issue across the Bandai games. We completely understand that life happens, plans change sometimes, but the amount of last-minute drops has gotten way out of hand recently. For our last 2 Bandai Store Championships in the last month alone, we had over 115 combined cancellation no-shows. Even after sending out 12 plus direct reminders through the Bandai app, asking players to cancel ahead of time if they couldn't make it, and these were sent out weeks and weeks in advance to boot. We still had no-shows. The biggest issue with this is that these are the capped events with limited spots. When someone no-shows or cancels right before the event, someone else misses a chance to play. We usually don't have enough time to fill the spot for that extra person because these are shut. You got a short window to fit these in here. It creates confusion during the check-in and registration, and it hurts our ability to fully cap events, which can affect future Bandai event allocations and championships for the store. We could actually not be asked to host because we didn't have enough people to show up. And it's not really at the fault of the store. We're doing everything we can with communication. I legitimately think that we go to the ends of the earth to make things even better than what we're being offered to often, because we put community first as one of our roles, and we try our best to make sure we're giving everything back to the community as possible. We've got a good reputation for that here. And as a store who has that level of reputation, we're still having to suffer this. I don't really believe this is on us. You might be out there and tell me that there's something I'm missing. There might be something that we could probably do better, and maybe I might be overlooking it. And I'm willing to take your advice, but I feel like we've done everything we can in our part. Because of this, we're going to start implementing a system similar to the Bandai's overseas fair play regulations policy under the Bandai to hopefully introduce something official in the US. Bandai event attendance policy. This applies to capped events at the Bandai TCG app. No shows, events, and cancellations within 24 hours of the event start time. Here are your penalties. 0 to 1, there's not going to be any penalty, but we are going to give you a warning. We're going to tell you, please, this is coming away. After 2 events, event applications are canceled for 30 days. So anything that we see you register in, we will be kicking you out of it. We will be deregistering you. If you give us two offenses, we're just going to go through the app. We're going to recognize your name, and we're just going to boot you from the system. 3 offenses, event applications canceled for 90 days. So that means for a total of 90 days, we'll have our own little calendar of doing this stuff. We will be kicking you out of all events from our store for 90 days. At 3+ events. We hope to never have to use this whatsoever. Personally, we really don't want to. But it's come to the point where if there are no consequences, then what's the point? And we need something to incentivize everyone out there to do the right thing, which is cancel if you can't show up. And please do it the moment you know something, not a minute before. Finally, I hope everyone understands that we need to find a way to make things fair to the players who are actively trying to attend these events and respect the shop who's trying to host them. We are trying desperately to get our events bigger and bigger for you guys. We want to eventually host something that's going to be thousands of space for you guys. It's way in the future here, but we think we can do it. We think with enough time, dedication, financial investment, community building, we can throw some major events for you guys that can bring in a lot of great business from around here, but also some great opportunities for you guys to meet players from all over the world that share your interests and share your love of the game. We appreciate everyone who communicates with us ahead of time. It helps us make these events successful for the whole community. It really does. So, if you need a little box here, Chris has gone even made a graphic for it, which I really appreciate. We have some more One Piece events coming up here soon that have to deal with the extra grand battle that's coming up here soon. So if you guys are in there, please make sure that you know you got in. Had quite a few drops yet again. So there's a lot of room for that. Please, this Saturday, if you have the opportunity to be here, there's a good chance that there's some room for you to play. We'll see how the space comes out here, but it's been getting to the point where it's unruly. Uchiha says there's a percentage who just go, I don't want to play anymore. But it's not all of them. That's true. And it's not fair of me to lump the people who genuinely can't for life reasons with the other people who simply don't want to play anymore. Yeah, and that's fair, Uchiha. I get it. It's difficult because there's a lot of factors. This is not an easy one-button fix thing. I will say that as a person who's been playing these games for a long time, I've never had issues with capped events because we don't cap events. We don't. In Magic the Gathering, they're just like, we expect 5,000 people to show up, and they make a room for 5,000 people, and they probably do get 5,000 people. It rarely does these events really need a cap if you plan for a decent amount of people showing up. I'd say the biggest issue that comes in those is you never have enough product for everybody that does show up. And that's one of the things that's a good thing, if you ask me. You don't have enough stuff, that means you got a higher demand than you realized, but you should be making corrections to overcome that demand. You should be doing something as a business to make sure that you're supplying enough for the people that there's too much left, and that's okay to have a little bit too much left. You satisfied all the customers with what they wanted. That's how you maximize profit. Obviously, it's business 101, guys. So that's going to be my message to Bandai. I want to say, first and foremost, and most importantly, above all things, Bandai, we love you. We respect you. Out of all the games, the people that I've played games for, the Namco, Bandai, I'm sorry, but Wizards of the Coast, what's the funny one? Like the Surfers of the Coast. I've been with a lot of different card games. I've had a lot of mini card games reach out with like Alpha Clash and stuff. I've worked with a lot of smaller and bigger organizations. And as a player who fills out the surveys that Bandai pushes out all the time, they're one of the few companies that actually respond. They're one of the few companies that look at the messages that I'm trying to send, and they don't see me as an enemy. They don't see me as someone who's actively trying to hate on your product just to hate on your product, because they know better. I'm a 9. Guys, I'm a 9. I'm a guy who loves the game so much, but knows that there's just a little bit you need to do to make it a little bit better, to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to play your game. I'm sure that a lot of you guys have been dealing with the heartache of the shortage of the product that's just not getting printed enough, and they're working on it every so slightly because they're so terrified of overprinting and killing the game that way. It's a dangerous game that they have to play. There's something you got to give some respect to as they try to figure out those numbers, because the scalpers are given sort of misleading numbers because they buy so fast. They just assume that was high demand, but the scalpers are buying in such large volumes that they assume that is the overall price. And if the scalpers sell out, they're not wrong that there's that much of a demand for the product because people are buying from them, obviously. But what is the number you have to print at that discourages the scalpers from buying the product, but also keeps the encouragement of people to say that there's still value in the game? Because once you overprint a card game, and this is just reality, guys, when you overprint the product and the product becomes cheap, so cheap that there's no value even in the alt art hits or the special rare hits, and you get these amazing like alt art Nico Robbins that are going for $100 on pre-release. I don't think it's that high anymore. But you get these awesome cards and people are chasing after this. And they're like, oh man, I really want that. I really want that. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It chases the demand, gives that excitement for you to want to open the product. But if they overprint it and this thing's worth 5 cents, no one buys a set anymore. It sits there and it rots on a shelf. And we can't get rid of it like Spider-Man. We can't get rid of it like some of the other sets that have gone terrible. And it does hit the business hard. It hits them for a couple months, and sometimes they get it. I've seen games die from this. Smaller companies, obviously, because they can't recover from like that, from overprinting, but it can kill a card game. So they're dancing on a web that they have to figure out. It's not an easy game. This is why you got into the business in the first place, Bandai. You want to give it a shot. That's the risk you're taking. We appreciate you listening to the surveys. We appreciate the time that you ask us to give to you and the time that you take to implement those changes, because you've been making a lot of great changes. And anybody out there that thinks differently really needs to reflect, because I have been on several of those interview or those surveys, and the stuff that I could specifically point to that I asked them to do, they did. Now, does that mean I made the influence? No, because I'm sure other people, what I'm saying isn't unique to the game. It's something that all of us players feel are a problem. Today was mostly about the stores because you don't see it from the store's perspective. But I know as a player, if you want to look from the player's perspective, how disappointing it is to want to be a part of these events and realize that my app wasn't working. I didn't have time to log into the system at that time. I didn't have the ability to get into it. And now I can't play in these events. And that kind of like disappointment can lead to another disappointment, and then can lead to them quitting the game. And you could potentially be losing people that way. It is a very feasible, it's an unmeasurable, because these people don't talk, they don't communicate, they don't say anything, they just quit. They're quiet quitters. The quiet quitters are the dangerous ones to your company. They're the ones that they're going to cause the most amount of damage. Because those are the statistics you can't account for. Apathy and uncaring will be your greatest downfall, because you cannot prepare for the people who don't say anything about your product. But you can for the ones that do. And while I have a voice, and while the rest of you have a voice, and you should be filling out the surveys, ask them to improve a little bit so the game can get even better for all of us. Because I think this is going to be one of the games that's going to survive so long as the company keeps doing the right thing and making the changes necessary. As for One Piece, of course, we're asking you to print more, but find that fine line for us, if you could, please. Find the way to get the scalpers out, but keep the players in, and make the product available. And that's going to do it for this round. If you've been here this long, hit the like and subscribe button. Help us out. We're a growing channel and just trying to get out as many TCGs and coverage for you guys at home. Brought to you mostly by the people you're seeing scroll over here, my Patreons. The ones that help me fund and do everything I can to try to expand this channel to cover multitudes of different TCGs that you are seeing here. You like the one you're watching now? That's great. We also have other things that you might like, from a broad spectrum of the Bandai to the new League of Legends, Riftbound games, and other independents like Alpha Clash. We like to cover as many games here, and I love all these TCGs. Most of the time I take part in. If you guys are liking this content, though, please help us grow, help us get into the point where we can improve our quality of content for you, and get to the point where you guys really get the product that you deserve. Thank you for being here, as always. This is going to be it for today. I hope to see you in the next video. That might be listed up here. I don't know, editor, can you help me out?